Chapter 4: The Death of Money and the Birth of a New God. Money, based on materials such as gold, having an accepted, stable, and inherent value, was used to measure a product's or task's claimed value, like a ruler to measure how long a cloth is, or a scale to measure how much a fruit weighs. Money made the world turn round. The secretive families convinced the politicians to change the base of money from gold to trust. Then they allowed the value of money to fluctuate to the whims of speculators. Money became an IOU note and functioned like an elastic measuring tape used to measure the value of products and services and set their prices. The measuring tape changed its length from day to day at the whims of money speculators. This short-term, fast-gain speculation by many greedy people resulted in a very chaotic system that eventually proved fatal to world trade. Some currencies lost so much value overnight that a sheet of imported toilet paper became more expensive than paper money of comparable size. The money from America, the most prosperous country, was used as an international standard, much as gold was used before. The banks realized the more debt the country was in, the more money they could print, and the richer they would be. So they encouraged the people to get into deep debt by providing them with long-term credit to continually buy many useless products, giving only short-term gratification. They encouraged the countries to get into debt by financing wars. The more people fought in wars, the more they sacrificed their money and their lives, and the deeper they fell in debt. The deeper in debt society fell, the more money was printed to finance it, like a bubble that is blown up until it bursts. This exploitation, like all forms of exploitation, are non-sustainable and have a limited lifetime. Eventually, exploitation becomes no longer possible. You can't milk a dead cow. When the finance bubble finally burst and money lost all its value, all other currencies based on it eventually failed, and all monetary systems eventually collapsed. At the same time that the financial system collapsed, the computers and databases of the banks also crashed. People suddenly found themselves in a world without money. While people normally do anything for money, they usually refuse to do anything for free. Removing money was like removing the whip from the slave driver. All work screeched to a halt, and all companies bolted closed. Once again, science stepped in to save the world. Scientists developed a machine that measured the physical and mental energy exerted by a person to work a given task and paid for the work done. It was called the money chip. It automatically stored the pay for work as a credit in the worker's account. The machine was inserted under the skin, usually on the forehead or hands. Everyone with this embedded money chip became a private bank. It was not possible to do any buying or selling without using this machine, as it was the only form of money available. This new currency motivated people to go back to work. Once fairly paid, motivation of people to work returned. Finally, a level playing field was established, and the world and its people prospered. Each person had a bank account embedded in their body. Once someone saved enough, they were allowed to invest their money as they pleased by giving it to other people for a part of their business with the hopes that they would buy into a successful venture. The central banking system became totally decentralized, with everyone being their own bank. A fair method of payment was regulated that allowed all people to live decent lives, and at the same time, the accumulated wealth of individuals was limited. The few secretive and very rich families who were for generations successfully choreographing the world to their dance lost all of their money, but they did not lose their wealth. They were landowners and owned the wealthiest parts of the earth. They continued unhindered in their ulterior motive to dominate the world by uniting it under their control. To gain domination of the people, they used fear, a proven method since the beginning of civilizations. Attractive navigation and communication features were added to these embedded chips, and they connected people in groups that made them feel safe. They were ensured that they would never get lost and would always know where their loved ones were. Just as the cancer epidemic was seen to be caused by the waves emitted by mobile phones, autism was soon linked to the universal vaccinations and medication everyone took. It was discovered that many of the drugs that people were taking to treat their many illnesses were relieving symptoms, not so much because of the chemicals they contained, but because of the faith people had in them. This was called the placebo effect, but all further studies to understand how it all worked were futile. This placebo effect could not be seen in any other life forms except man. Belief and faith seemed to be stronger than knowledge and understanding. As if a new moral code solidified in humanity, the overly greedy people were gradually and shamefully disgraced and defiled for their corruption and greed. At the same time, the few scientists who uncovered corruption of the over-greedy were graced and deified. Businessmen were treated as devils, and scientists were treated as gods. To the great benefit of man, doctors quickly converted into alternative and holistic practices. It was rediscovered that the long-lost habit of drinking one's urine at times of illness was greatly beneficial to get healthy and keep healthy. Most humans were brainwashed to believe that urine was undrinkable. Most were unable to take a first gulp without vomiting, like smokers who could not stop smoking despite the known risks. Some people saw that they could exploit this and made machines that were implanted under the skin. Urine was pumped in a tube from the bladder into the stomach.